Hi, this is David J. Fielding, Zordon from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and you're watching Action Activate!
What's up? It's me, Gazbot. I am here to talk about Mystic Force. Why? Because this is Action Activate, and this is Action Activate, and I'm Gazbot. And this guy was always coming.
It is I. It is the big dog, and I am also here to talk about Mystic Force because last time we planned on it, but then we got sidetracked talking about Power Ranger auction. If you're watching this in the future, you already know all the results. If you're watching this in the present, you also don't know what's going on because none of us do. Nobody's watching this in the past.
It could be. Well, no, they are. If it's now, it's always the past for them.
The only people watching this in the past are SPD and Time Force, and only for a little bit longer on SPD.
But even if they watch it in our future, they're still watching this in the past. No, it's our past. Yeah, okay. Time travel is not part of the story this week. what is the Heir Apparent Part 2.
Yes. So, initial thoughts.
I watched it a week ago, and now I'm like,
Same.
wait, what happened? I remember liking it okay. My opinion might wildly change once we start going through it, and I remind myself what it was about. I remember it was at least good. I don't know beyond that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember. There's some interesting fights. We get some new powers. Korag is a very inconsistent character these two episodes, which is one of my gripes. But overall, I mean, stuff's come to fruition that we kind of, have been hinted at and slapped in the face with most of the season. So that part's cool. The main villain, whose name I'm forgetting off the top of my head, is just as annoying as ever.
Or
no, the other one.
Oh, I got you. The that looks like
Imperious something is
Imperious. Yeah, you're right.
Thank you. We do get to see the master this episode, and he's just as underwhelming as I had imagined.
He kind of looks like a Cthulhu squid from what I recall.
Yeah, he's like the Kraken.
I don't know why this is at 2 speed. Okay, so this is where we show. Okay, I'm remembering now where it looks like he was destroyed. This is his name, Dagon. What's his
Daggeron?
Daggeron. Yeah, Dagon is a Cthulhu thing. That's what I'm getting all mixed up.
Yeah.
Daggeron. We see. Oh, look. Oh, this is just the recap. And here's a commercial. Let me tell you. I am on top of everything this week. I'm just everything 100%. No problem. No problem.
None whatsoever. This is another example of some, it is the easiest way I can talk about things in this episode that I enjoyed. Like, again, it's not bad. It's just, I'm further solidifying this is a fine season.
I understand why some people really like this season, and like people are like, oh, it doesn't get enough credit, whatever. I don't think anybody should be pooping on it as like a terrible season. And I get why people like it, but it is, we've talked about this before, it's inconsistent. It's just weird. Like it has some really good parts that should make it a better season than it is, but then it has some other parts. And this episode, I think, does kind of exemplify that because it has some cool stuff and some not so cool stuff. And
like Daggeron in this episode's cool. Like I like Daggeron in this episode.
Yeah, and I do like Gingy. I mean, he's that cheesy character I like. And this is him. He saved him. He's like, of course I did. Ha ha. But you're right about Korag slash what's his name? Liambo. It's weird. I'm remembering now. It is weird. He saves them and they leave. But it is a thing where like he gets turned back. We're jumping ahead, but he gets turned back into Korag, and then he's like, I'm gonna go fight him alone as Liambo. And it's like, what is going on? Like, it just seemed weirdly inconsistent.
Yeah, the thing I liked from a Ranger perspective is none of the Rangers were out of character, which is nice.
Yes.
Which is a weird compliment that I have to give this season, where it's like people didn't lose character traits in this episode. Like, I feel like I have to say that a lot.
Right. You are correct, both that it was good this episode and unfortunately, you have to point that out sometimes.
Yeah,
I do like that Nick. Like Nick was sort of like, why we can't trust this guy, like he's not just like everything's fine, like I appreciate that because like, yeah, maybe it's fine, maybe it's not, who knows? I don't know this guy, even like, is he corrupt? Like I appreciate that they weren't all just like, what's her name? Udano's just like, I love you. Oh, it's perfect. And it's like, oh, hold on there, lady. We don't know what's going on. I appreciated that.
Because in the past this season, they've been scarred by their friends before, which is a fair thing to be skeptical of.
I think, well, yes, but this guy isn't even his friend. It's his point. It's like I've only known you as an enemy, and like, why should I suddenly trust you?
The just like little snippets, the shots that we've seen so far have been pretty funny.
Good like face captures.
Yeah. This is another example of like, I made this this example about something else, something I was reading with a buddy where it's like, when you play a video game and you fight a boss and he's really difficult, then you unlock him as a character and he's okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of the vibe I've been getting this episode where like 1 second it's like, hey, actually I'm really powerful. All of you magic away. And then I'm going to magic. And you're like, what? And then I'm evil again and I'm difficult to fight.
Here's the thing. You are correct. Except Korag has had that wavering level of difficulty the entire show where it's like, I could take on all of you and your Megazord versus one of you is keeping me at bay. Like, so that's consistent whether he's good or evil, I think.
Again, the problem I have with Korag this episode, one of the problems is, again, we're skipping around a lot. When he does confront the Master again, it makes the Master seem not like a big deal. They're trying really hard to make it seem like the Master's a big deal. I think the Master is arguably weaker than a lot of other things we've seen this season.
I don't disagree, but I also think it's supposed to be one of those things where like the Master is not at full power and the Master is restrained in some way. And if they weren't, forget about it. They'd trample the world. But I also think this is this. I'm remembering now. This episode ends and is like almost could be the end of the show. It's almost, we win, but of course we know, he's not really fully defeated. And what about Leanbow? And like, so, but like in a way it could, and so I'm taking that as this is like going to your video game analogy when you like seemingly defeat the boss, but they just really just sunk back underground. And then 3 levels later, they're like, I've been gathering my strength. Like, cause it wasn't their full form or whatever.
Yeah. We're at a part where like, I knew this was happening. Like from the times I've watched random bits and pieces of this and watched recaps and stuff, I don't really remember a lot of the plot points after this, but I do know like 1 or 2 that we haven't gotten to yet, and then that Leanbow and Korag are the same. Like I know that.
Right.
But
I'm remembering there was a lot of weird stuff in here. Like he sends Udana away, and then when he does, everything turns black. Like, and I guess that's because the villains are appearing, but it was just like a weird cut there. Like, it would have been better if they showed the darkness descend. It was like, wait, is it nighttime? What happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then they turn into the Rangers, and they're fighting this Chimera, which should be super powerful and able to defeat them pretty easily. And they're not doing great. But then there's Leanbow, and they're like, oh, we're gonna mess with your head. All this is going on a little bit kind of quick, but fine. And then out of nowhere, here comes Dagron, aka Solaris Knight, on a freaking unicorn. Yeah. And there was no explanation. And when I was watching it by myself, I out loud went, what? Because he literally says something along, I should have put the closed caption. He says something along the lines of like, I'm here and I have this unicorn that can teleport through dimensions. And it's like, what? Where did this? Because the last we saw, he had just been saved by Genji. There was no side quest. There's no like, hey, he could have even just said, hey, as long as we're in this dimension, let's go find that. Like nothing. And it just shows up. And I understand. That's what I'm saying. This is what we say all the time. Sure, this is Sentai footage, but they could have had some throwaway lines where Genji's like, really? The unicorn? Are you sure? And he's like, we got to do it, and then they show up with the unicorn. Fine. But that was weird.
The other thing I liked because we do talk about this, give us a line that explains something. As he came in, he's like, hey, this is the unicorn. Don't forget it can combine with your Zord.
Right. She travels through all dimensions. If you run into trouble, she can combine with your Megazord. Like, yeah, okay. That was not nothing, I guess, but like not enough.
Of all the choices, it is one that you made.
It is one. Yeah, I give them credit for making a choice, but yeah, that was just out of nowhere.
Just super fun. I love that. Where like that was the part I laughed. A unicorn came in. I'm like, sure, and then he's like, don't forget it can combine.
Yeah, and so they and again, it's also like they were stuck in that dimension, I guess, and so they are immediately out of the dimension, and then immediately. Well, before that, immediately combines with the Zord is not immediately because there's this in between, but like very quick upon.
Yeah.
But then it's that dumb thing where it's like, oh, hey, let's fight as, honorable way. And it's like, oh, okay, I'll fight you honorably, even though, you would never do that for me and I shouldn't trust you. But it's Power Rangers. So that's what we're going to do. I got rid of this commercial.
Yeah, the thing that I find interesting is when we do see the Zord, it's essentially just Korag Zord, but color swapped. So
is it literally that? Am I that dopey that I didn't realize that? I mean, thematically, I understand what you're saying, but is it literally just that?
I mean, the toys combine the same. So if somebody knows definitively in the comments, let me know. But when we see it on screen, like you'll see that.
Yeah, say in the comments if you know. But there's a difference between toys being similar and being exactly the same. You know what I mean? Like you could take a big muscular body, make the Hulk, or make some other muscle guy. It doesn't make them exactly the same. But like, yeah, I'm wondering now. But yeah,
I think in the Sentai, the horse that Korag has and this unicorn are the same. It's just one's evil, one's not. Right. And then I think we just haven't had that. So he's like, look at this unicorn that's here. Wow.
I think you're probably right. I also think going back to the Contest of Champions thing they're doing, why is Genji like again, this must be Sentai stuff where like, oh, Genji's gonna create this. No, it's not Sentai.
No, it's not because he's there.
But it doesn't quite make sense. Like something about it is weird. Like why aren't they still in the same battlefield? Why are they in this secret?
I also don't get why they keep having Imperious switch modes all the time for no reason.
Yeah. And he switched. Yeah, they both turn into these mystic ancient modes and like
but he's in like his evil one, and then for a sec he's in his good one, but then goes back to his evil one, but not his regular evil form that we see. Like it's really goofy.
Okay. All of that being said, I will say this. I really the individual unicorns or whatever, but I do like this mode. This Megazord is probably my favorite of the season. Even though it's only two, like it's a Megazord of two.
Yeah, but it looks like a color swapped Korag.
I mean, I like Korag Zord too, but like it looks like why? This looks like a Mystic Knight. It looks like a Mystic Ranger. It looks like, oh, I have white armor and I'm a knight and I have magic and like I don't know, it just works for me and it's very cohesive. And I love the mane coming off the back. Like we've talked before, like my least favorite kind of Zords, generally speaking, there are exceptions, are the ones where it looks like 15 different things with 100 colors and it doesn't match. I like the ones where it like is a little more cohesive, and this is that. It low key makes me want to get a figure of this Megazord, which I assume exists based on what you were just saying.
It's very gettable. I have the 5-inch version of it.
I'm thinking I have the one with the lion and the phoenix, which has a fun gimmick, but it's not my favorite. So I'm like, maybe I sell that and buy this. Like maybe that's the move, and take up less shelf space too.
Yeah, for sure. It is a cool design. I do like the Chimera in this fight though, like aesthetically. I like how he looks. I like, this fight overall is pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot the dragon comes in too. This fight was good. It wasn't the best ever, but it was good. Yeah. And the Chimera is cool as a villain. I feel like I wish he stuck around a little more. It would have been cool if like pieces of him fell off, he reabsorbed other, like just something, but like I understand that's just not how
I do like how the different heads spoke in this episode, because I know last episode you were saying like it's a Chimera, but like it kind of is just a generic monster. And this one it was like, hey, what are we doing? I don't know, we're gonna blah blah blah.
100%. I was thrilled when they started arguing with each other. I'm like, that's okay, yeah. If either don't show individual heads or have them argue. That's my thing. Like, and they argued. So great, perfect. Like, or not even argue, but just communicate.
I know what you mean, yeah. Because you're a big Quintesson fan, and that's why.
I do like the Quintessons.
Yeah.
Did you see? Okay, wild deviation has nothing to do with Power Rangers. Did you see Transformers 1?
No, I heard it's really good though.
Yes, I saw it. It is really good.
I plan on watching it at some point in my life.
Okay. Quintessons are a Transformers thing for those that don't know, which is why I went to that.
Too bad, magic can't be done by her on Udana because she's all powerful but doesn't remember. Moving on.
Yeah. What am I going to say to that? So he finishes the final strike. Now we're back to the battle with Daggeron. Well, and again, this is all Sentai, obviously. So I guess that's why they set it up here. That's why they did it, because the Sentai footage is in this black magic zone. And like, how do we do that? Well, let's make Genji get in there. So okay, it doesn't make sense because of Sentai footage, which is what I said, but that's allowable because there you go.
Yeah, good point. Ninja Steel point for you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so here we go. Better yet, this is him fighting Korag. Let's see.
Oh, well, I guess it's opposites then, because you could see they are pretty much the same thing.
They're not palette swapped. They're not color swapped, but the engineering.
Yes, they are.
No, look at the heads.
The heads are different and the chest is different.
Yep, but also the horse mane looks different, doesn't it? It doesn't have that big.
The head is different and the chest is different.
The head inside is like the helmet of the robot.
Yeah, because it's like the Ninja gimmick where the figure Korag is a figure and Red is a figure, and they port into the horse body.
Yes, and you're saying that's different. The chest is different, but I'm saying the horse head on top of that is also different.
That's what I said. The head is different and the chest is different. And then they're the same.
Let's see if there's any other differences.
Why'd you cut away, Gaz? What was there, an ad or something?
Yes. Okay, Horsehead. Yeah, they do have some. So like these do look extremely similar, but is the detail the same?
I think they're the same. Yes. Want to know why? Because in the toys, if you have both of them, you could swap the pilot into the other one.
You could be able to swap the pilot in. Here's what I think you're not hearing. Like, I agree, you're mostly correct that it's basically the same engineering stuff. But I'm wondering, like, how much different is it? Like, is the armor on the legs? Yes, it's the same basic armor, but it's like has like different spikes on it or something, or is it literally just
literally the same?
For those that are just listening, I'm looking at footage right now
to try to disprove me, but I am right.
Yeah. I think you might be right. I'll give you a 90% yes. I want a little bit. I'll give you.
Check my Ninja Steel point, and we'll move on.
This is a provisional Ninja Steel point, and in case somebody could back me up, or I could find some schematics on the toys or blueprints on the Zords or something. But that is cool that they're flipped, and I didn't think of that at all. So I'll tell you what. I'll give you a Ninja Steel point for noticing how similar they are.
And then one for being right. Got it.
Provisional bonus point if they are literally the same.
I'll take it. If I have to give it back, I'll give it back later, but I won't.
That's not how this works. You're never going to give it back. Once it's in your hand, you're a collector.
It's already out in the world. Whoa, where'd it go? It's all around us.
So here's Korag fighting the Red Ranger. And again, going with power scaling, he's defeated the whole team before, but now he's, just one right now. Is it because Leanbo is like in there fighting him? I don't know. I honestly, you know what? I'm going to make a huge reversal right now. I'm going to say a lot of the Korag power fluctuations. Some of it was he lost his magic at some point, fair. But I'm going to headcanon it, or maybe this is what they intended, that because this is not who he is. There's some part of him that's always fighting against it, and it's more or less powerful, and that affects his fighting power, and that kind of explains everything.
I disagree. I think it is a power scale problem. I don't think it's the headcanon stuff.
All right. Well,
because he already established when he was full evil that it was because of honor. It wasn't because of something else.
Well, but even the honor comes from Leanbo.
Now he's arguably less honorable now because they hyped up his mind control temporarily.
He still believes in honor though, even when he's like.
I don't remember him talking about honor in this fight, but who knows?
I can't remember.
I shrugged it off because I'm like, whatever, just get on with it. This to me when he flipped back.
No, right here. He says you don't have a chance without your sword. Pick it up. So that's whether he literally says the word honor or not. He's still doing it. Look, now pick it up. See
that fine.
I won't fight an unarmed opponent. He may or may not have said the word honor, but you can't tell me that's not what's going on there.
This episode, when he flipped back, I shrugged and was like, this is just like any other episode where a Ranger's temporarily, evil for a bit. It'll go back by the end, whatever.
All right. He says something about him fighting when he's angry, and it's like, oh, yeah, because, and he said that blah, 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 blah. And then, we cut back to this fight that I don't care about. And then he beats Solaris Knight because he cheated, right? Yeah. And he's like, of course I cheated. And, I like that. Yeah, of course he cheated. So now he's Daggeron. He's not his ancient mode. He's not Solaris Knight. He's just plain old Daggeron who just got hurt because of the cheating. And then he's I'll die with honor. And then he is somehow able to just fight off the power that would have basically killed him before if Genji didn't save him. And then using his, slightly more than human strength, defeat him by willpower.
There's a very simple explanation for this.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Okay. So he's beaten. He turns into whatever. And then this is when the sidekick, whose name I'm forgetting, comic relief that should be powerful, is talking to Udana and is like, hey, you got to believe in magic. Leanbow came back and anything's possible. Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, that's right. Magic means things.
Oh, yeah. This is when she finds out that Nick's her kid. I forgot.
Yeah. And she's like, magic isn't just literally spells. It could be anything. So I believe in this cloth and, Nick's my kid. And it's like, all right. I believe in magic.
Yeah, she's like, where'd you get this? She's like, I got it out of Nick's backpack. I'm sure he doesn't mind. She's like, oh, the cloak from back then. Oh, I have to tell him to break the spell that it's his kid.
He's basically been living with her. He has 3 possessions. That's one of them. Fine.
Again, just very struggleable. You're like, yes.
Yeah. So now, okay, he picked up his sword. You fought well. Battle's over. I'm going to defeat you now with honor. And she's like, hold on. This is Bowen. This is our son. And you're Leanbow. And he's like, what? Gross. And oh, you're with me. It's really magical.
He's like, you're not honor. Honor's the only thing I'm in love with.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about this whole reveal because it was super telegraphed. And I've said before in some of the other videos, like maybe not to kids watching it at the time. You know what I mean? But I don't know what they should have done different, but because they need to set up breadcrumbs so it makes sense. But they had so many. They maybe should have revealed it earlier, like the same breadcrumbs, but have her. Here's what I would do: have her figure it out, and we as the audience know she's figured it out, but she doesn't tell Nick because what am I going to tell you? Your father's evil. You don't know me. It's weird. And maybe he finds out, and he's like, oh, why didn't you tell me? And then there's this whole thing where he thinks she's like keeping secrets, and she's like, I just didn't know. I didn't want to hurt you. Maybe that's too complicated storytelling for Power Rangers. I don't know, but everybody kind of finding out in the same instant, it's like, okay, it's a cool story idea that I don't think was executed as well as it could have been.
Yeah, the one thing I have mixed feelings about, because I don't know whether I love it or hate it, is after it's revealed to him that they're his parents, he's like, yeah, okay. He doesn't question it. He doesn't have any mixed emotions. He's like, sure. It makes sense.
I agree. I'm guessing, haven't watched it, guessing the next episode. Well, the next episode should be about him dealing with it. Have a Monster of the Week episode, but the B plot should be him being like, you abandoned me. No, we didn't abandon you. You were stolen from me. I guess, but how come you never looked for me? I'd kind of just deal with all that to get to a kind of a normal place. But I agree with you that it's weird, but him being okay with it bothered me less. He's a kid. He's gone through a lot of stuff. Who knows what's in his head? You know what I mean? What bothered me more, and we're jumping ahead, is Donna just being like, I'm your mother. And she says something dumb like, go clean your room. And it's like, really? That's what we're doing this?
Yeah, and he's like, I guess you've been my mom 5 minutes and you're already telling me what to do. And she goes, yup. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was dumb, and I did not like it. This is also dumb, where he's like, okay, well, I'm back and I'm good now. And instead of all of us going to fight the master, I'm just going to go by myself for some reason. Even though I did this once before, failed, got turned evil. And a minute ago, I just got turned evil again. Remember that? Yeah. So this will work out fine. And then the second time in this episode when I was like, what? Not his motivations. Everything I just said, I'm like, it's just weird choice. But, Sentai, what are you going to do? But then let me see if I could find this spot. Right here when he starts to fight him, the head comes at him. Oh, here it is. Yeah. And he blocks him with a shield. And then he's just sort of picked up kind of like he's a statue that's glued to the head of it. He doesn't move. It moves around. Yeah. What is happening here?
CG at work right there.
Yeah, but that's not it's not just low budget. It's not just bad effects. It's weird. It's harder to do that. Have it flail around badly a little bit. Put it in shadow. Make it be badly rendered. But he's like, But it's just it's weird. Yeah. Did it not get finished? And I assume this is Sentai footage. It's just weird. It's very weird visually. It took me
either way, it's odd. Doing a close-up cut like that would have been better than what that weird CG stuff. Yeah, the Master I could care about. The Master so far, I'll say this, whether hyperbolic or not, is my least favorite overarching villain in all of Power Rangers.
I don't know if he's Master Zandred is worse, I think.
Okay.
From Samurai.
I haven't finished Samurai, but the limited amount I saw, I still like Master Zandred more. Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Master Zandred at least spoke. This is just like, oh, you can't piss off the Master. Look at that eyeball. He's seeing you.
Yeah. Master Zandred, most every episode was basically Rita, but worse. Where he was like, I feel sick. I have a headache. I don't want to do anything. You deal with it. And it was like, well, we already saw this in Rita when it was a little bit more like, I don't know. I didn't like it at all. I'm not defending the Master here. The Master is definitely in like bottom for me, but I'd have to really think about, is he the actual worst?
I'm going with worst, definitively.
I don't like that Leanbo is going to fight him again. Just because logically it makes no sense. Noted that he's worst for you, by the way. I know I just talked over you, but I also feel like, and I said this about another episode, I don't remember where, when it's like, I don't feel like there's heavy stakes, and someone's like, oh, there are, because X, Y, and Z, and like, feel free to rebut me in the comments all you want. I'm not offended.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, here's Leanbo again fighting the Master underground, I guess. And it's like, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, I mean, I guess he's gonna win and the show's over, or he doesn't, and I still don't understand. And again, it's probably a Sentai thing. These weird forms that Leanbo has, like, oh, my evil form is this cool wolf knight, but my true good form is this melty demon looking guy. Like, what? That makes no sense.
I think that's his like ancient non Power Ranger morpher form.
It is, and that is a bit explained. So I'm not saying they didn't explain it, but just aesthetically, I maybe it's because I'm an artist, but I think, I don't know, just this does not look. It looks like a fire demon. You know what I mean? It looks evil. It's just weird to me that this is the good one and Korag is the bad one. Visually, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, because Korag's an evil ranger.
Right. It's not wrong, and they did explain it in the writing. I don't like it.
That's like saying that Solaris Knight is a cool suit, and then his ancient mode is not. You're like, well, it's supposed to look weird.
Correct. And I feel the same way about that, and the same way about Imperius. All of the ancient modes I don't like, I guess is what I'm saying. All of them I don't like.
I like Imperius better than his current mode.
I don't. I think they look like different characters. I think his other one looks like an evil Lieutenant Monster of the Week or whatever, and Imperius, the current one we have, the mummy looking one, matches better the...
He looks like the big bad of a season.
Yes. Yeah.
But weird flashes, Cthulhu-y stuff.
And then then he says, Rangers, carry on my legacy. Do they hear him actually, like, through some kind of mental telepathy, or is he just talking?
The shrugs. I can't be shrugging harder.
Yeah.
He's gone. Probably, but probably not. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, here's something else that bothered me. So they're bonding. That makes sense. And then she comes in again, all smiles. Everything's fine. That's the thing. They're like, Leanbo's gone. She's like, I don't know, magic. And it's like one thing to be like positive, but it's almost like a manic depressive thing where she's like, it's all over. I have no magic. Wait a minute. I believe in magic. Everything will be fine. He'll be back. Don't even worry about it. Like 10 minutes ago, she was ready to give up everything. And now she's like, doesn't matter. He'll come back to life. It's all fine. Like, yeah.
Oh, a character inconsistency. We found it.
I guess. I don't know that it's a character inconsistency in terms of the scope of who she is in the show. It's more within the scope of this episode. It was just like it was too quick of a change.
She either shouldn't have been sad and been like this the whole time, or been sad and not been like this 10 minutes later.
I think it's this one. She shouldn't be like this 10 minutes later. This should come again, maybe after an episode or two. She's like, you know what? Maybe he's not gone forever. And I've been looking at some books and I've been keeping the hope alive. Like a lot of my complaints about this, well, some of it is just Sentai random related. But some of it is just like, be a little more subtle. Make it take an episode. Just take a step. Don't beat us over the head with it.
But also just so many emotions in the show, mostly the ones we complain about, are so like amped up more than they need to be. It's not that the emotion's bad. It's that the intensity of the emotion's bad. It's like she, instead of being hopeful, she's like, I'm so hopeful. I'm going to gaslight you because you're not as hopeful as I am.
Yes. And now you're worried about the death of your father and whether the evil is truly defeated. but I really need you to clean your room because everything's fine. And you're my kid, remember? also, even though I've called you Nick since the moment I met you, I'm suddenly going to start calling you Bowen because that's what I named you when you were a baby. I'm not going to ask you about this. This is just what we're going to do now. It's like, I finally found my real mom in 2 seconds. Yeah, it's clean before your father comes home. Again, like a weird, like delusional joke, which it's Power Ranger, so he's probably coming back. But it's like in any other situation, like, wow, she's cracked.
It felt like I was watching an early episode of WandaVision, but like, but we're not at the early part. You're like,
yeah,
no, like I know the deal. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I agree. You're right. It's not so much what is happening. It's when it's happening, and how intensely it's happening. Like the concepts are good, but the execution is just ham-handed and weird.
Yeah, I don't know. This season is not my favorite we've reviewed.
Correct.
Probably my least favorite out of all the seasons we've reviewed. Like you said, not saying this season is the worst season I've ever seen, but just all of the other seasons are just better.
We've only reviewed 3, Beast Morphers, and then like was Super Beast Morphers or whatever.
So 2 Beast Morphers,
Cosmic
Dino, and SPD.
Oh, and SPD, and a little bit of Overdrive, and I know obviously you like that better.
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
I know you don't have to restate it, but yeah. I mean,
at least in that it's so bad. Like I'm having fun with it. Where this is again that middle of the road where I'm like,
it's definitely worse than SPD. Yeah, no, I think I agree with you that of what we've reviewed, this is my least favorite. But there was some rough episodes in the beginning of Beast Morphers in the first,
they were figuring it out though. It's funny actually.
Beast Morphers is kind of the opposite of Dino Charge. Sorry, let me just finish this.
Yeah, you're good.
Where I felt like I really liked Dino Charge all the way through, and then the ending I was kind of like, eh. And I feel like Beast Morphers, I was like, it's not that great. Oh, it's getting better. And then the ending was so great that I forgave all the other stuff.
Yeah, I have a funny Beast Morphers thing to say during the credits, but that's about it for me. We'll keep on keeping on and see what happens.
Yeah. Are you watching, just because you brought up WandaVision, are you watching Agatha all along?
I haven't yet, no.
I was not at all interested in watching it. But it was like Halloween, and I'm like, and it's better than I thought it was going to be. I'm not saying it's the best. It's not WandaVision good. It does tie into WandaVision, which is, you know, so I think it's a good Halloween one.
Well, until next time, I'm the big dog.
I am Gazbot.
And to the power. See y'all later.
Yeah. Let me look for those end credits.
See, I was saving that random stuff for right now, just so people in the future are like, I don't care about Agatha. It's 4 years from now.
But you think they're going to make it through the whole episode and then be angry?
The better question is, do I think people are going to watch this review 4 years from now? And I don't think they will.
I think they might. I mean, people watch our SPD reviews. Like it's an old season. And it's an old episode of our show, and just recently I've gotten likes and comments on it. I think it's people decide, hey, I'm into this season. Let me see what people said about it, or I'm going back and rewatching it, or people. We're not on the cutting edge ever. You know what I mean? So people just find us whenever they find us.
Speaking on not the cutting edge, my buddy, I was talking to him about the Heritage auction and some of the stuff on there, and they have the Cheetah Beast Blaster, the bane of my existence, that I forgot about. And I was like, look at this. This is so dumb. They use a gun to make the sword attack happen. And then he's like, oh, and then he started watching this compilation that we were watching it together of all the fights in Beast Morphers. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. This is the season where guns solve every fight.
Solve everything.
And he's like, wait, so they just I'm like, look, this next fight, they're going to fight. And then what's going to happen? They're going to pull out the guns. And for 27 minutes, we watched compilations of fights where it's like, man, was it? Yep, there it is again. Yep, they pulled out the blasters. Wait, they don't have the blasters. What are they? Oh, nope, they got the blasters. Wait, but they can't teleport things. Up, they picked up the bad guy's blaster and used it. Okay,
they found a way.
Yeah. So another thing from seasons we like, and then I was like, hey, you should watch the Tommy Tuba episode, and he's like, no, I need to go to bed, and maybe I can convince him today to watch Tommy Tuba.
Well, you should have him watch our episode reviewing it. That might be more interesting to him to see you.
Well, so he's watched bits and pieces of ours, but I want him to watch part of it and then watch me talk about it so I don't sway his opinion. And he could be like, this is really dumb. And I'll be like, yeah, look what I say about how dumb it is. one of my most favorite reviews, just because of how much fun we had talking about how terrible of an episode it was.
Yeah, it was very
like I can't even remember it negatively, because I just remember us cracking up for like 45 minutes and me having so many one shots of like, look at this dumb thing about this tuba kid. Like, oh,
yeah, you were so exasperated at some point. You're like, blah 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 blah, and you start getting really high. Like you're talking really high, and then you just collapsed. And you're like,
I did. I might go back and relive that, and you guys should too if you want. Just an absolutely unhit. If you're like, hey, what is Action Activate? What do you guys do? That is the prime example of just as unhinged.
I remember, is it episode 3 of Beast Morphers? It was an early episode of Beast Morphers.
I don't even know. It was. I mean, you did a great thumbnail where it's him, and I'm just like, or something. I don't know. But
right, anyway, I'm gonna end the recording. Right?
Yeah, get out of here. Skedaddle.